Hi, it's Roger here with episode 33 of Entrepreneur TV. If you're new to this channel, subscribe here. We have some awesome episodes coming up. And if you're returning, welcome back. 33 is my most favorite number. So this is going to be a great episode about your greatest asset. And before I get onto that, let me share the view from up here. An amazing view of Tokyo, Japan, from up on the penthouse of Intercontinental Hotel. We're actually looking down over one of the that is one of the entrances to the train station, and I'm going to be sharing a bit more about the trains in a moment. But before I do, let me share a quote, one of my most favorite quotes from someone called Buckminster Fuller, where he says that wealth is controlled time. And what he means by that is that time cannot be saved. Time's going to flow no matter what. And for a lot of us, we're like, I don't have enough time. We actually do. We've all got the same 24 hours as each other. But some are much better at controlling it than others. And there's actually three different ways to control time, which allows you to experience it differently, and allows you to go from earning money through a job through to having a business that's making money through to having multiple investments. It all comes down to this whole concept of how you're valuing your time. And before I get into those three, which I'm going to share on this video, let me start by showing you this, right? The fundamental core to all of time is rhythm. And rhythm, once you understand rhythm, allows you to see how things like cities get built. See, look, have a look down here. Here is the train station. You can see there are trains which are coming and going. They're all based on a rhythm. That rhythm wasn't set this morning. It was set years ago. People come to the particular station they want to. They go to the particular platform they want to. They get on the right train. They go to exactly where they want to go. And the trains keep busy. You look over here, the rhythm of the traffic. Everything is maximized for flow. And so you can actually have people crossing. You can have the cars going, all based on automatic rhythms. Even things like posters are. Those posters have a rhythm of when people pay money to actually have their poster up. When it gets taken down, the next one goes up. Every hotel, every office block, the entire city, even down here, all these people down here, they are all on a rhythm of when they're going to work, when they're coming back, when the shop's open. You get the idea. When you look at your own body, you've got a rhythm. You're breathing, you've got your heartbeat. All nature works on rhythms. And man has the ability to create that same flow automatically through actually creating rhythms, whether it's your business and how you create the rhythm in your business, just like when you're at school, you had a rhythm and you had to go to every class at the right time and you ended up doing it. If your business has the right rhythm, then you can actually grow it just like an entire city can grow through rhythms as well. And if we actually take that concept, right, whether you go to a train station, a port, an airport, that everything is all flowing as a result of rhythms, how can you start designing your life in the same way? So I'm showing you right now my computer, and you can see here on my computer, I've got this thing here, which is a team charter. This team charter wasn't created just like yesterday. This was created last year for all of this year, for all of 2015. So this is how, as a team, we can all know what we're up to, what we're doing. It's got in here, a calendar for the whole year. So it's agreed ahead of time. So I already knew I was going to be here in Tokyo a year ago. And in fact, this is a rhythm that happens once a year at this time of year. And it's just something which continues that every time I show up, there's more people who are here. They're doing more with us. Here is my calendar for the entire year, which was again designed last year when I was like, all right, 2015, how do I make it the perfect year for me? Like if I look back 10 years from now, I don't want to regret this year. So how do I design it in the right way? Like, you've got family holidays in there, you've got adventures in there. Then you've also got all the things to be done with the business in there as well. Designed ahead of time so it can just run automatically. We've already designed 2016 as well. So how do you want 2016 to be for your perfect year too? So once you start, now, by the way, I'm not saying that everyone has to go down to minute detail, but the higher up the spectrum levels you go, the more things actually get designed. When I start working with people who are multimillionaires, they've planned out their time a year in advance. You go to people who are billionaires, they've designed it even further afield, and they've got down even to the 15 minutes that take place. Just like a president will have everything down to the 5 minutes, or a racing car driver will have everything down to the minute or the second. So you take this concept of controlling time, and it comes down to three different ways. The first way is something called synchronous time. So think of synchronous time like synchronous communication. On the phone, you actually got to physically be there to actually experience the time and then to also earn from it as well. So this is creating a certain type of flow of money called earned time. That's synchronous time. There's a second type of time, just to give you a comparison, called asynchronous, which is like an email. You do something now, you get the result later, right? So it's not all happening at the same time. And I'll get onto that in a moment. But first of all, and they're opposite of earn time, right? Earned time is when you're getting paid by the hour for something, right? I remember at school, looking at my parents. My mom was an accountant, so she would get paid by the hour. My dad was a consultant. He got paid by the day. And the harder they worked, the more hours they worked, then the more money they made. So I go, okay, they're going to have to work really hard to make the money. When I went and worked on my first architecture project, I remember sitting down at one of the site meetings and all the contractors were there. And I was looking at the list of deadlines. And after the deadlines, they had these numbers, which were like kind of overtime numbers. And I was like, wow, look at that. For every day extra they work, they're making an extra $5,000. And the architect I was working with was like, no. That's not them making the money. That's them paying the money back. Those are penalties for being late. And I go, what? So if they don't get it done in time, they're going to work longer. And when they work longer, they're not earning. They're actually paying back. They're actually earning less. He goes, yep. I go, that's not the way I thought money was made. And he goes, yeah, well, because they're not getting paid by the hour or by time. They're getting paid by the result. And this is a second type of time, which is called promotion time. Promotion time is like project time. It's like you design ahead of time how much money you're going to make or when something needs to get done and what the value of that is. And then as a result of setting that, you actually make more money by spending less time to get to that result, not more. Right? So earn time is like, I've got to keep on showing up to be there, whereas promotion time, you can set it in motion and other people can be doing a lot of it. And you actually want to minimize the time you're putting in or just doing the things where you are most valuable. And I changed the way I thought about time. I remember, I was there looking at jobs where I might make $10 an hour. And I was like, oh, wow. So, to make $1,000, I'm going to have to, work for 100 hours. When I thought, wow, look, promotion time, I can create a publication. And if I can make $10,000, and if it takes me, 100 hours to do it, well, every hour's now worth $100, not $10. Okay, let's see if I can make that happen. And I'd set goals and targets for 3 months. Could I make that money? And then when I found out I could, I was like, well, of course, I'd rather spend my time on promotion time to make that money in 1 month or 3 months, as opposed to go get a job where I'm just making the $10 an hour, right? And a lot of people get confused about how do some people make so much money per hour. It's not about the hours, it's about the results they're delivering and the value they're creating. So, okay, let me give you an example of this, right? Like being here in Japan, every year, why is it that it keeps getting bigger? As well as people having a habit of coming back, it's about us partnering with different people as well. So for example, here we are, another part of this little top floor here, where I have got, ta-da, this is the Millionaire Master Plan book in Japanese. This just came out. And this was planned a year ago when the Japanese publishers said, right, when's the best time to bring the book out? And our partners in Japan said, well, Roger comes out here in the middle of the year. Let's bring out the book then. So that's exactly what happened. They helped to promote the event that we just ran. We just had like a whole bunch of people show up at this event. And the fundamental, this is such a great thing seeing this in Japanese. It's all back to front, or well, right way around if you're Japanese, obviously. But what's so awesome is coming here, signing on the back page, which is obviously the front page, and having everyone show up, knowing I was going to be here and knowing I'm only coming once a year. So just like the trains are only going to be at the platform for a particular period of time, the moment you limit your time to only be there at certain times, you then end up full, as opposed to waiting on the station for the train to come. You are the train with the only specific number of seats on that train as well, right? So for example, we have got this board meeting here, boardroom, where today I've got a series of sessions with entrepreneurs, mastermind sessions. They're all full up. I'm going to be busy all through the day, and they're all paying money. So I make money, our partners make money, they make money because we're actually measuring how much they're improving their business within the next 3 months and the next year. And so everyone wins. This is not about one person making money, someone else losing money. It's about everyone ending up making money as a result of leverage, which is taking whatever you got and making more with it, right? So the fundamental core to all of this is knowing that if you have one type of time, which is earned time, it's like a little cup of water. I'm using a lot of props today, right? So like if we come over to the cups here, I'm going to get to the third type of time, right? So here are our cups. Here is a cup. You can only fill so much in a cup. It's like an hour of time. It turns into a bit of money, and you've got to keep on basically filling it to keep drinking. And if you don't go thirsty, which is great, you actually with earned time are able to always make that extra money to survive. But you got to keep on showing up and filling the cup up, right? That's different from promotion time, where you're actually setting something in motion where you can continually fill the cup up for months at a time if you want to. And that's more like a kettle, right? So a kettle looks like this. You can fill up the kettle, and then that kettle allows you to constantly fill up more and more. So effectively asynchronous time, you've got something that's going to store up and save you for a while. The third type of time is called investment time. Very different, because now we're talking not about a kettle, but a tap. So you're fundamentally having an ongoing stream that's happening. So when I remember starting one of my first businesses, I was like, wait, if I start a business and I'm not the one in there having to run the promotions, but I've got a team that's going to do that instead, well, then I can value my time as a stream that continues. This is called automatic time. So you've got synchronous time, asynchronous, and automatic. Automatic time creates automatic income. It's about investments. If I figure out that I can make $100,000 from this business if I get the team in place, and it's not about multiple streams, it's about multiple teams. Because if you don't know how to build that team in place, you're still going to be there to look after that stream. So if I can get the team in place, maybe it's going to take 30 hours of my time. If this is going to make me $100,000 a year, in the first 3 years, if I value at least that much time, that's $300,000. If I spend 30 hours to create a stream of $300,000, that means every hour is now worth not like $100 or $10. It's now like $10,000, right? Like 10 times 10,000 is going to give me 300,000. So as a result of that, I say I'm much better off starting to actually work at that level. Now, of course, if I didn't have cash flow coming in, I couldn't afford to wait 3 years for the money. But if I've got the cash flow coming in, then I can start going up to green blue level, which is where I'm actually building investments and my time becomes more valuable. And I'll stop doing things where I'm earning the time or I'm running promotions, and I'll have other people doing those things instead. So you get the idea. These 3 different types of time allow you to actually increase the value of your time and not even having to be there, because you've crystallized it as a stream that's now ongoing, where it's other people who are now supporting you and where you're helping them create the most value in their time as well. And that really is where I kind of end this with what I started with, your greatest asset. Your greatest asset is your time. By me creating these schedules, just like a city creates schedules or an airport creates schedules, or you create a schedule which actually has everything in a rhythm, that's something called Chronos time. Chronos time is chronological time, right? And it's basically, these go back to ancient Greece. Chronos is basically, like the Grim Reaper. It's like time's gonna tick on no matter what. Right, every minute's the same as every other minute, but you actually structure that time so there's a rhythm, just like automatically structuring my breathing or structuring my heartbeat, so I don't have to think about it. And then I can get on to Kairos time, which is magical time. That's like showing up at the train station at the right time, and by magic meeting someone else going to the same destination as you, striking up a conversation, creating new friendship, and it's like, wow, that was a coincidence. Magic time is where you actually create synchronicities, and it's where you actually have the ability to let luck happen, and all of that happens only if you've actually got your time already in a rhythm that works for you and works for your company. Because in nature, just like that Zen saying goes, in nature, nothing is rushed and all is accomplished. So time is your greatest asset. And the reason I say that is because if you look at the relative value of people who are wealthy compared to people who are not, and I'm not talking about wealthy being all about the money. Remember, I say wealth isn't how much money you have, it's what you're left with if you lose your money. It's about that ability to control time. That's what true wealth is. Just like Buckminster Fuller says. Because when you have money, think about it. Money is relatively very valuable for people who don't have it, and it's really not that valuable for people who do. It's like you go to someone who doesn't have money and you say, what would you do for $1,000? They'll do a lot for $1,000. You go to someone who's got all the money flowing automatically, they'll say, it's not about the money. So the relative value, money is something that goes down in relative value the wealthier you get. But time is something that goes up in relative value. In fact, the fastest way to get to wealth is to value your time more. You could see some people don't have money, but they might be wasting their time. They might be complaining with it. They might be watching TV with it. If they just started valuing that time more and then investing it better, suddenly those 24 golden drops end up becoming worth so much more as well in terms of what they create. If you value your time more as well, because as your value of time goes up, your wealth goes up. And the reason that happens is because all the wealthy people know that when it comes to your money, when you spend your money, you can always get it back. But when it comes to your time, once you spend your time, it never comes back. So value it. And I want to leave you with that final message. You can calculate how much your time is worth today, how much you want your time to be worth a year from now. And if you do that, you go from a point where maybe you start with, you're creating a little system of flow, and as time goes on, that system becomes an entire structure of flow, and you end up in a situation where you're collecting consciousness, you're collecting value and people who want to play the same game as you. And cities get built that way, as do great companies. So with that being said, have an awesome week ahead. We'll catch up with you next week in New Zealand. Love if you actually start adding any questions you have down below, because we are going to have a Q&A coming up in a couple of weeks' time. So go ahead, ask your questions, leave your comments, share the video, and we'll catch up with you in a week's time.